Hey guys, how are we? This is possibly one of the most important videos I have ever made. So if I'm boring, please just stay on to the end because this is actually very important. So the events of today with Shinzo Abe being injured in this attempted assassination could actually be the trigger for World War III, and I'll explain everything to you in the course of this video. So I'll try and make it as clear and concise as possible. When it happened today, I was actually working and a friend of mine sent me a message saying, have you heard that Shinzo Abe has been injured in an attempted assassination? And I quickly had a look online and I quickly got back to this person and basically said that this could be the beginning of World War III. And there's a reason for that, and that is that the history of China and Japan is a very sordid tale. And I might just try and turn this spar off because I'm going to try and keep the noise down. So it's a very sordid tale. So in World War II, or just before World War II, Japan invaded China. It invaded Manchuria and basically called it Manchukuo. So they changed the name and basically made it forced labor, or slave labor. And that's what we're looking at through the lens of in this particular situation. So Shinzo Abe was shot by someone from close, I would say relatively close range, because they used a sawn-off shotgun. There are speculation that they were using a Breitnik, or if you're outside of Australia, a buckshot, which is basically a solid chunk of lead that is projected through the shotgun. Shotguns are particularly very, look from a distance, they're not very good at all. So this indicates that it was actually very close range. And trust me, you do not want to get hit with buckshot or Breitnik from close range. It just literally leaves a hole. I know this for a fact because we spent a lot of time on sheep and cattle properties when we were young kids, and we used Breitnik or buckshot. So I know it very, very well. It leaves a nasty gaping wound. So going back to the history of this, so they had the attempted murder today, or assassination, and when Japan invaded China, it used forced labor or slave labor to increase Japan's war efforts. So that was very, very highly effective. Now the guy who did that his last name is Kishi, Nobuke Kishi, and he was actually tried, or not tried, for war crimes by the United States once Japan surrendered in World War II. Now just keep in mind, like my wife is Korean, the Koreans hate the Japanese for what they did to them in World War II, and the Chinese have an absolute hatred for the Japanese as well. Now it gets very interesting, and this is why I'm saying this could lead to World War III. So Kishi actually formed the Liberal Democratic Party of Japan, which has been the most influential political party in Japan post World War II, even to date. Now, Kishi's daughter was Yoko Kishi. She married a politician, and his name was Shintaro Abe. Now, Yoko and Shintaro Abe had a son, and his name is Shinzo Abe, the guy that they tried to assassinate today. Now, there are people in China as we speak who are celebrating the attempted assassination of Shinzo Abe. And I don't think that he will survive. I hate to be very cynical, but I'm telling you, if you're hit by buckshot at close range, you need the Lord Jesus Christ on your side big time, because there is very little way to be able to survive that sort of injury. It is absolutely terrible. And I did see some of the pictures of Shinzo Abe on the ground when he was being medically looked after, and I can tell you it made it all the way through. So very, very touch and go. Now the problem is that if the US and the UK, which I released a video yesterday saying that they are flagging concerns around China and increased nationalism and China's activities in the West, if there is one tiny little connecting piece that this gunman is associated with some sort of nationalistic mechanism with China, we are in World War III. There is a defense pact between the US, the UK, Japan, Australia, basically the Western world. And that will be against China and Russia, and we'll see which side India falls on. I suspect they will be on the side of the West, but we don't know, because they're certainly siding with the BRICS nations in regards to economics. But that gives you a background or an understanding of what the connection is between Shinzo Abe and these ultra-nationalistic people in China. Now, as I said, if there is a connection between the gunman, this assassination attempt of Shinzo Abe, there is going to be absolute hell to pay, because this will be World War III. It's very similar to Archduke Ferdinand being assassinated prior to World War I. And the other interesting fact is that just yesterday and the day before, Chinese and Russian naval ships have circumnavigated around the territorial waters of Japan. So very interesting timing. As I said, this gives you a bit of an understanding of the background in regards to Shinzo Abe and some of these ultra-nationalistic forces within China. And if there is a connection, as I said, this is World War III. This will be the trigger. I am absolutely convinced of it. So anyway, guys, I wish I could give you better news, but that's pretty much, that's the way it is. But there are people celebrating in China this afternoon, quote unquote, having an extra bowl of rice, eh? Isn't that special? So very interesting times, and I think what we'll see now is, if this is the case, you're going to see basically Japan will a superpower when it comes to military force. They have the capacity. The Japanese are not to be trifled with, and they have incredible technical skills. So watch this space. This is going to really play out. It's, as I said, I think I said it back in January, look for one trigger to start what they call a sand pile theory, but it's a knock-on effect. And I think that's all. This is all we've been waiting for a trigger in regards to World War III. As I said, certainly don't want to be negative, but as I said, as soon as I heard it today, I drew the dots, and I've just got word through today that there may be a connection between this gunman and ultra-nationalistic Chinese. So be very, very cautious around this. It's very bad news, very, very bad news. By the way, I want to thank people who certainly donated to the Overseas Exile channel. Give me a hand to produce more content, and I very, very much appreciate that. Anyway, guys, going to leave that there. I'll keep you up to date on this. If I get any further word through different places, I will keep you up to date. But just wanted to let you know that, because I think this is actually very, very bad. This could play out in a tragic way, to be honest. I know there are people celebrating. I don't think, you know, gun violence is certainly never a solution. I don't condone any violence at all. And this is certainly nothing to be, you know, celebrated. So anyway, all right, guys, going to leave that there. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, do that. Hit the like button and subscribe, because I'll keep producing as best quality content as I can and draw the connections between things that most people are not aware of. Yeah, go to the Overseas Exile Facebook group and sign up, become a part of the discussion. There's some good moderators on there. And yeah, anyway, guys, and I will, if you put any comments in below, I always read them. So I'll get back to you if you ask me something. All right, guys, love you and leave you.